May I cordially invite Dr. PYLEE, our beloved syndicate member, to happy occasion.
Dear PYLEE sir, distinguished Chief Guest, Dr. Valethan, Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Ramachandran Cadets, Professor Sebastian, and other dignitaries and friends. I am very much delighted to participate in this unique function on behalf of the syndicate and wish both the donor and the recipient of the prestigious award the best. This is a very special situation where both donor and the recipient belong to Cusat community. It is likely that this may be repeated in future, maybe an incentive for the faculty to follow. And because I have full faith in the potential of the faculty of this university. Dr. PYLEE and Dr. Sebastian got empowered and flowered while they were in Cusat. And they are deeply attached to this center of learning. I once again acknowledge the contributions of Dr. PYLEE and Dr. Sebastian in bringing laurels to Cusat. I may also be permitted to make a very simple observation before I conclude my felicitation talk. This is with regard to Indian higher education. The Indian higher education is at crossroads. Half a century old regulatory bodies are being dismantled in the name of over-regulation. MHRD has taken into consideration two divergent reports as Bible for reforms. As we all know, one is the Knowledge Commission report and other is the Innovation and Rejuvenation report by Professor Esquire. These are two divergent reports. And the difficult task before the academics in this country is to reconcile these divergent facts into a single package. And for that purpose, a task force has been constituted, and the task force is struggling hard to reconcile the divergent views. And that is the reason why I told you that the Indian higher education as of now at the moment is at crossroads. For example, the ESPAL committee report, I will say, as well as the knowledge committee report, it cannot be interwoven together. ESPAL committee report, I will say that it has got the humanist traditions and approach and the democratic form of governance, etc. On the other hand, we can say that the NKC, Knowledge Commission report is more or less corporate in its outlook, in its culture, and therefore these conflicts will continue for some time in our higher education scenario. And since this is an assembly where we have senior academics, we have to think of how to reconcile these divergent aspects into a single point. And then only we will be able to bring about excellence in the field of higher education in India. So, my humble request to the academic community of Cusat is to initiate steps to reconcile the corporate culture introduced through NKC and the humane as well as the democratic ethos of ESPAL to be clubbed together, to be combined together, so that we may be able to achieve better excellence in future. Before I conclude, I must say that Dr. Sebastian, who is a very close friend of mine, I had the good fortune of working with him for so many years when he was here in Cusat on a number of policy issues, and we worked together in some of the struggles and which we put up in some areas where some policy decisions, when the government went wrong, I remember that he stood with us and fought against it. And such a man is honored, and I am very happy to associate with such a wonderful function. His contributions, I am sure, in future years will continue to enrich our higher education scenario. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your innovative ideas also. Now, let us have the acceptance speech. I kindly invite the recipient of the award, Dr. Sebastian, Professor at Indian Institute of Science, for the speech.
President of the meeting, Professor PYLEE. Chief guest of the day, Professor Sebastian. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ramachandran Tekedat. Professor K.G. Nair, Dr. Godfrey Lewis, Syndicate Member Dr. Joy Job Kadaveli, Registrar of the University Dr. Chandramoy Kumar. I have several friends in the audience, Professor Babu Joseph, who is a dear friend of mine, and there are far too many for me to mention, so let me start. I am very deeply honored to be here on this occasion, particularly because you see, I am being given an award instituted in the name of Professor PYLEE, who is one of the most distinguished academicians that I have known. I would say that I am doubly honored because Professor Vilithan is here, another very distinguished person whose name I have heard for so many years, and whom I have always wanted to meet. In fact, I had met him maybe once or twice earlier, and so this is a golden opportunity for me to meet him again. Now, let me say a few things about science in Kerala and in India. See, the way science is being done in our schools, science is being taught in our schools, I would say it is deplorable. The teaching at the school level has to be improved a lot. And recently, I don't know how many of you have read it, there was a report in Current Science published by KVPY. KVPY is, I assume you are all familiar with KVPY. In fact, our average performance in mathematics and physics is well below the national average. I am talking about students who have appeared for KVPY examinations. This shows that there is something wrong with the teaching of science and mathematics in Kerala. I am not saying that it is much better elsewhere in India, because I have seen students in other places also, and their education also, it is comparatively better, that is all. Now, what we have to remember is that a subject like physics or chemistry, there are concepts, and these concepts have to be taught by eminent, very good teachers. And unfortunately, that is not happening in our schools. And perhaps the university, the Cochin University, I know that the Cochin University has the Center for Science and Society, which is doing admirable work. Perhaps they can give some leadership. I do not know whether they are already doing it. Perhaps they can give some leadership for training school teachers and plus 2 again. I should say that it's very difficult. I feel so pained when I look at some of the textbooks. So we need something to be done to improve science education in Kerala and of course in the whole of India. Okay, now I'm not going to talk further other than thanking a few people. I know that many of you will not know the people that I'm going to talk about, but they have all supported me over my career, and therefore it is very natural that at this juncture that I am being given one of the highest awards in the country, that I should remember people who have been so helpful to me. I did my PhD in St. Thomas College, Bangalore. It's an institution, great institution. Several of the teachers, I am not going to mention names, several of the teachers were very kind to me, and they put up so much enthusiasm in me that I decided to pursue science, not anything else. And further, then I went to Calicut University. There again, we had a wonderful teacher. His name is Professor K.T. Ramavarma. He must be known to some of you at least. And then I went on to Institute of Science. Again, I met a very wonderful teacher, Professor Rangarajan. And these institutions have contributed so much to me, because you see, all of them made me a teacher in that institution. So I worked in all these institutions. And after that, I came to Cochin. When I came here, it was a wonderful place. The School of Management Studies had a big reputation. Electronics department was very active. It was led by Professor Nair. Then physics led by Professor Satyanandan. Again, it was a very wonderful time at those days. And of course, in my department, we had very wonderful colleagues. I had very wonderful colleagues like Professor PYLEE, I don't think he's here, Professor Yusuf, then Suganan, and others. And then of course, you see, my area of research was borderline between chemistry and physics. So I used to walk upstairs to my good friends, Babu Joseph and Nandakumar, and of course Nambudiri, who is here. So it was really wonderful, and in fact, I spent 12 nice years in this university, and I was given the award, and then I was invited to go to Indian Institute of Science, but at that time I actually didn't want to go because I was so happy here. And in fact, my wife was very reluctant to go, but then I decided to go there. There were several reasons. One of the major reasons was that the funding was becoming less and less. And journals availability was a big problem in those days. So it was very clear that I would not have any journals available for my research, and my research, as you know, is theoretical, so it doesn't need anything other than journals. Almost no money is needed except journals, but in spite of that, I felt that it would be difficult to continue my research, and therefore I had to leave. But then of course that move turned out to be very good for me personally, because otherwise I may not be standing here. Now, there were other things also. The university has been extremely nice to me. They have, for example, I've had no difficulty transferring my service benefits to the Indian Institute of Science. In fact, there was minor problems connected with the PF, but that again has been solved by my friend Professor Kulaveli, and I have had so much support from every one of you, and so I would like to thank all of you for your support, which is the reason why I am here. And lastly, I should of course mention the person who has been responsible for the whole thing. You see, a scientist like me, what is the biggest thing that I get? The biggest thing that I get is the excitement. It is just the excitement. And that excitement doesn't pass on to your family. The excitement is purely personal. You can tell your family, well, I have done it, but then the family will ask, what is the big deal? So you get excited, okay? That itself is a big reward, and then for doing scientific research, at the end of the month you get paid. That of course the family will understand, but you see the salary of a scientist is not very high. These days of course it has got better. And then of course an award like this is something that the family members will definitely understand. So the university and of course the committee has honored me by giving me this award. And in fact, as a scientist, I spend most of my time in the lab. I am not there at home. If there is a crisis at home, it is solved by my wife. So without my wife's support, I would never have been here. So I have to thank her. Well, I wish she could have been here, but she could not be because my son has to write some exam somewhere. So anyway, I would like to thank the university, the Vice Chancellor, and of course Professor Nair and everybody else responsible for this marvelous function. And thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.